Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of This Week in Wrestling. And it's Wrestlemania. It's the Wrestlemania special. Tomorrow night is Wrestlemania. So instead of doing what I usually do and run down the whole week in wrestling shows, I've decided to go over my Wrestlemania predictions and talk about the WWE in general at this time. And I'm also currently trying to figure out how to rework the show, maybe reformat it or something like that, because the first 4 episodes run a little bit long. So I'm trying to figure out how to cut down on the run time for that. So I'm trying to figure some stuff out with that. Hopefully, I will be back next Saturday with a post WrestleMania show, and I'll have everything all figured out how to cut down on time. Because of the first 4 episodes, 2 of them were in excess of 4 hours. So I'm really gonna try to cut that down, preferably about maybe 1.5, 2 hours. It is a lot to cover. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. But for this, I'm just talking about WrestleMania. So here we go. Basically getting into predictions, which I would normally do at the end of the show after talking about the whole week's worth of wrestling shows, which I'm not going to get into here. Interesting week, though. Interesting stuff happening on shows like Lucha Underground. We had a couple title matches. 2 title matches in one night. Pretty awesome. So anyway, I would normally do it at the end of the show, but this week it just is the show. It's all that I'm doing tonight. So for my WrestleMania predictions, I've chosen to analyze what I think is going to happen, most likely, and what I want to happen, or what I would want to happen if I was doing the booking, for example. So both what I think is going to happen and what I hope is going to happen. So for the pre-show, we've got a couple of matches, 2 matches for the pre-show. And I don't know what order this is going to be in. I just sort of arranged it in an order that I think makes sense, but WWE doesn't always make sense with how they order their cards. So who knows? This is just the order that I think makes sense. And the first show, the first match of the pre-show, I should say, is the WWE Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way with the champions Tyson Kidd and Cesaro defending the titles against the New Day, which is Big E and Kofi Kingston, Los Matadores, and the Usos. And each team gets a manager, as per the... It appears that each team gets a manager. Tyson Kidd and Cesaro will have Natalya as a manager. The New Day will have Xavier Woods as a manager. Los Matadores will have El Torito. And, of course, the Usos will have Naomi. So, as far as this match goes, what I think will happen, I'm not sure about this one. But I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to put the belts back on the Usos. That's kind of what I'm thinking they're going to do, but it is on the pre-show, so maybe since it's just on the pre-show, they'll have the champions retain the titles, which that's what I want to happen. I want Cesaro and Kidd to be tag team champions for a while. So I'm thinking maybe the Usos, but I'm hoping that the champions will retain. And I highly doubt that the New Day or Los Matadores are going to win. I suppose it's always a possibility, but I just get the feeling that WWE isn't so into either of those teams that they would that they would give them the titles at WrestleMania. But then again, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So the next match on the pre-show, oddly enough, is the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And obviously there's lots of participants in this one. And I was looking at Wikipedia, because Wikipedia had kind of the match card, the matches listed. And Wikipedia had a little notation for the quote-unquote announced participants. And the list that Wikipedia gave was The Miz, Curtis Axel, Ryback, Fandango, Adam Rose, Zack Ryder, Jack Swagger, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, Big Show, Kane, Eric Rowan, Damian Sandow, Sin Cara, Goldust, Heath Slater, Mark Henry, Connor, Victor, and Hideo Itami. So the Ascension will be in the Battle Royal, which I'm glad they're not in the tag team title match. And Hideo Itami's in there, which is pretty cool. Give at least one NXT star a chance to shine on the big stage, but at the same time, I'm not sure about that because, I mean, most of the people they listed sound about right, but I seem to remember Wikipedia being wrong about the Royal Rumble entrance. I believe Wikipedia said that Bo Dallas was going to be in the Royal Rumble, and I was kind of excited about that. I was like, ooh, Bo Dallas is back. And then I watched the Royal Rumble, and Bo Dallas wasn't in it. So, yeah, I think they were wrong about the Royal Rumble match, so I don't know how reliable of a source they are for the entrance in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, but that's kind of the list there that they gave anyway. But whether they're right or wrong, this match is kind of a toss-up. There's a lot of little storylines involved. There's the one with like Big Show and Kane, and there's the Miz and Sandow thing. But it's kind of unpredictable in that sense, especially because there's no real importance placed on who the winner is, at least not thus far, because the first one they did was last year, and the winner was Cesaro, and that hasn't really done anything for him. So who knows if there's going to be any significance placed on who wins and what they do after. So it's kind of a toss-up. I think we will almost definitely, like 99%, we almost definitely will see the Miz and Sandow have some kind of implosion, or just no longer will they be a team after this. And that's definitely going to play into the match, but there's no guarantee that that's going to be the end of the match. Though I think it would make sense to have it come down to them, the Miz and Sandow being the last two participants, and then Miz tells Sandow to eliminate himself, and Sandow refuses to do it, and then they fight, and Sandow eliminates the Miz. So that's kind of what I want to happen, because I think it would give some significance to the storyline, and I would like to see Sandow be used in a way that doesn't make him look like a jackass, if that's at all possible. I know a lot of people probably think he's good at the comedy act thing, but I would like to see him taken seriously, because I think he's talented enough to pull it off. Not just the comedy acts, but I think he's talented enough to pull off like a serious gimmick, and I really would like to see that because I have a lot of respect for him, and sometimes it doesn't seem fair what they do to his character. So basically, I would want Sandow to win in that sense. And as far as who I think is going to win, like I said, it's a toss-up. Lots of people in this match, so I don't really have any solid predictions besides that idea of Sandow winning. But another thing that they might do with it is to have Goldust win it, and then I don't know, somehow that pisses off Stardust, and they reignite that feud, which honestly they had, and then it just kind of faded away, just kind of petered out. They had that one lame match at Fastlane, and then all of a sudden, it's just the feud is just dead all of a sudden. And of course, that would be, if they wanted to do something that made sense, that would be a good idea to put a decisive end to that feud and give closure to that storyline, the Goldust Stardust thing. But given the history WWE has with basically shitting all over the Runnels family, it's kind of an interesting thing, like, because basically they took Dusty Rhodes and turned him into a dancing fool, a dancing clown with polka dot trunks. And then they took Dustin Rhodes, painted him up, gave him a wig, made him act like a transvestite or something. Very like effeminate and very just painted up and weird. And turned him into Goldust. And then, Cody Rhodes comes along and they give him a litany of shitty gimmicks from the dashing Cody Rhodes to the thing with the nose protector and coming out, handing out paper bags. Just some horrible, to that mustache gimmick he had after, when he was tagging with Sandow with that horrible mustache thing, and and now the Stardust thing. Just a litany of terrible gimmicks for Cody, which I personally think he makes most of them entertaining, at least for a little while. Like, I was definitely behind the dashing Cody Rhodes. I thought he made that work. Even Stardust, I wasn't immediately tired of. Like, legitimately, I kind of dug the Stardust thing for a little bit, and then it started to get old, and I was like, I started to grow tired of it pretty quick. But at least for a while, it was entertaining, and he certainly tries. He's not like a Mr. Monotone, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. He definitely tries, and he puts in like the acting into his gimmicks, which I gotta respect him for that. But yeah, so I figured I would explain that because it seems to me that WWE has a history of just shitting on the Runnels family, and it just just giving them terrible gimmicks. And with that in mind, I'm not so sure that they care about bringing closure to the Goldust Stardust storyline. And there was another theory, I guess, another prediction that's been floating around that I could see happening, which is Sheamus. There's been all those video packages about Sheamus returning, which I haven't actually commented on. I haven't actually commented on that in any of the previous episodes because it's more or less just a commercial. And it didn't really play into the current storyline. And after a while, it just got kind of comedic. Like, oh, this week they're going to show another Sheamus returning video package, and he's not going to return. So maybe he'll come back in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and maybe he'll win it. That seems to make sense. But there's none of these predictions am I really sold on. There's just those possibilities. So I guess for my prediction, if I had to nail it down, would be okay. Maybe it'll be the Sheamus thing because that seems like it makes sense. I guess that's what I think will happen. Again, I'm not too sure about that. So that'll do it for the pre-show. As far as the regular card, I wasn't sure which match would be first. So I went with Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. So Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Again, I feel like this storyline was already paid off when Orton just beat Rollins all around the arena and RKO'd him through the announce table. That felt satisfactory. That felt like it honestly should have been the end. That maybe they should have waited and they should have made it so that Orton couldn't get his hands on Rollins. Even if he tried, and it had to be at WrestleMania, and they would set it up so that it was a no holds barred match or falls count anywhere or something like that, where Orton could do all the stuff he did on Raw to Rollins, but at WrestleMania, and it could end with him getting his redemption. But since they decided to do it the way they did it, where that happened on Raw, that changes things. Instead of a revenge storyline, it still kind of is, but I feel like he already got his revenge. But I'm very conflicted about this match because I feel like both of these guys could go over. I like them both, so I'd be okay with it either way. But I think that if I had to decide what I would want to be the result of this match, I would say I think I want Rollins to win, just to give him some credibility as the Money in the Bank contract holder, because he's kind of been booked like a coward, like a chicken shit, and they really haven't booked him very strong. So I think he should win, to give him some credibility. And besides, that night on Raw with Orton, I feel like he already got his revenge. So, it's not really necessary for him to get a win over Rollins. And as far as what I think will happen, I mean, they might give it to Orton since he just recently came back and he's been booked pretty strong since he came back. And I guess in this storyline, he's the babyface, even though he kind of works better as a heel. But that whichever way they go with it, there's going to be shenanigans. There's going to be involvement from J&J Security, and there's going to be some authority interference. And that's just inevitable. No matter what the outcome's going to be, there's going to be some interference from the authority. But honestly, I hope Rollins goes over on Orton, because I think that Randy is just past his prime. Not like way past his prime, but past his prime by maybe like a couple of years. And by no means does that mean that he should stop wrestling. Just that I think the prime of his career was a few years ago. And he's definitely been in the main event scene, and he's definitely been, a multi-time champion. So he doesn't really need to be near the top anymore. I certainly would take him over Cena any day, or Reigns. But I think that considering that he is just barely past his prime, I think maybe it's time for him to start putting some younger talent over. And I don't see why that would be a problem. I would think that would be fine, even with him, because I know he loves the business. And, you know, Chris Jericho was doing the same thing for a while. Like, he was kind of putting over some younger talent. Like, I forget how long ago that was, but he had that match with Wyatt. It was probably like, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. Maybe longer than that. But Chris Jericho had that feud with Wyatt, and he kind of put him over, which was good. But I think maybe Randy Orton should start doing that. Start putting some guys over. Not that he should become a jobber, obviously. I mean, I'm wearing a Randy Orton hoodie. This is a Randy Orton hoodie. I'm a fan of the guy, but I think maybe putting over some younger talent is something that he can start doing every once in a while. And what better event to do that at than WrestleMania? Because WrestleMania matches are like 10 times more memorable than matches on any other pay-per-view. Generally. And I say generally because the next match might not be so memorable. The next match I have in this list is the United States Championship. Rusev defending against John Cena. And I think that my opinion of this match has been made clear in my previous videos, if you've seen those. And if you don't have the patience to watch those videos, believe me, I understand. And I'll restate my opinion here. Basically, I don't really care about it. I don't really care about this feud or this match. Not in any sense that I'm really invested in it. But at the same time, the ridiculous patriotism angle just really makes me want to root for Rusev. It really makes me want to just Rusev all the way. Even though Rusev I don't particularly care for. But the more the WWE tries to shove this patriotism angle down my throat, basically trying to say that I should be cheering for John Cena. I should be rooting for John Cena because I'm an American and he's representing America in this great battle, this Rocky IV style battle between America and this Russian guy who's not really Russian, he's Bulgarian, who's like anti-American, and he calls America and Americans stupid. So I should be rooting for John Cena because I'm an American and he's representing me in this match. No, I'm not going to root for John Cena. I'm never going to root for John Cena because he sucks and I hate him. And I've had him shoved down my throat for over 10 fucking years now, and I'm kind of fucking sick of him. So I'm not going to root for John Cena. And the more you try to shove down my throat that I should root for John Cena because he's representing America and this is a patriotism storyline, the more I'm going to want to cheer for the Russian. Because the Cold War is fucking over. I'm pretty sure Russia is not an enemy of the United States. I'm pretty sure they're one of our allies. We seem to be pretty civil with them. I mean, you know, Vladimir Putin may be kind of a weird dude, but whatever. I mean, we just had a president in the White House who was kind of a weird dude before Obama. And you can even make the argument that Obama's a weird dude. But The fact of the matter is, Russia is not our enemy. Haven't been for quite some time. So I don't see a reason to bring this like international politics angle into it. It's really just about two wrestlers. Two boring wrestlers that I don't give a shit about. One of which I'm absolutely sick of. And I hate completely. And it doesn't matter to me who wins. One way or the other. It doesn't matter to me in the long run. But if I have to analyze, and if I have to think about this match and who I want to win, honestly, I want Rusev to win because this patriotism angle is ridiculous. It's so heavy-handed, and it's like they're begging you. It's like they're on their knees just begging you, please root for John Cena. He's representing America. You've got to root for him now, right? No, I don't. I hate Cena. I fucking hate him. And even though I don't really care about Rusev, especially when Lana's not around, I'm going to root for Rusev. If I got to root for somebody, I'm rooting for Rusev. Rusev Crush. Doesn't make me anti-American. It just makes me anti-Cena. So I want Rusev to win, especially because that would be hilarious. After all this build-up of Cena being like Captain America and he's representing America and America, America, America. I think it would be hilarious if Rusev won at WrestleMania, especially if he won clean. It would be hilarious. But then again, you know, you can't always get what you want, as the famous philosopher Mick Jagger once said, especially when it makes no sense in the booking. So even though I want Rusev to win, I think it would be hilarious. I'm all but certain that that's not going to happen. Not in the slightest. I am almost 100% sure that Cena is going to bury him. It's going to bury him. Probably make him tap out with the STF. Just to put the little extra exclamation point on beating him. You know, not just beating him, but beating him by submission with that STF, which I don't even think deserves to be called the STF because it's so retarded looking. It's like, but I'm pretty sure, and yeah, it's what I think is going to happen. I almost want to say I know it's going to happen. It's that close. I pretty much know that that's what's going to happen. Is that Cena is going to win. He's going to take the title. But to be fair, I don't really care too much anyway. Because like I said, it's just two boring wrestlers. And at least it keeps Cena out of some more important matches. They certainly are trying to build it up like it is a very important match. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't see how it is that important. Like, they're trying to book it like it's important, but it's not a world title match, and it's not like, it's not like versus The Undertaker when The Undertaker had his streak going, so it's not really that important. So up next, we've got the Divas tag team match. I better take a drink of water. Yeah. So the Divas tag team match. AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. This match is meaningless because it's just a tag match. And it's not even like the title is on the line. It can't be on the line in a tag team match because it's a singles title. And I don't even I fail. I fail to see how it even matters who wins. I don't see it. I don't see the importance in this match. Nor do I see why this match couldn't just take place at a lesser pay-per-view or even on an episode of Raw. Because I don't see how it's that important. It's just going to be more pointless Total Divas garbage. And the result isn't really going to matter because it's just going to be, oh, the evil Bella Twins, and oh, they've been running roughshod all over the Divas division, and can anybody stop them? And even if they do, even if AJ and Paige do, beat them in this match, what's the significance? Oh, they beat the Bellas. Someone finally beat the Bellas. So, the title doesn't change hands. After WrestleMania, no matter what happens, Nikki Bella will still be the WWE Divas Champion. And every single day that goes by that she still has that title is another day that part of me is in abject misery. Because I can't stand her. She's boring. She sucks on the mic. In-ring talent is debatable. I personally don't see it. And worst of all, I know, not that I care or that I went out of my way to get this information, but I know who she's dating. And I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the fact that she's been the WWE Divas Champion for several months. Nepotism at its finest, folks. But I guess if I had to make a prediction as far as who's going to win this meaningless match, I think the Bellas might win. Maybe just because it's a meaningless match. But again, it's not something that I really care about. But I think maybe the Bellas might win. And while it's hard to say that I really want anything from this match, I would personally prefer AJ and Paige to go over, just for the simple fact that I'm actually a fan of them and their in-ring ability. I think that they're really talented women, and I think that WWE doesn't use them right. Whereas the Bellas, I don't care much for them. I don't. So on to a match that I do care about, finally. The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. Should be an interesting match, I think. And I'll be excited to see how it goes. And this is another match that I think could go either way. I want Bray Wyatt to go over because I think that there's no better way for The Undertaker to sort of pass the torch on to Bray for being, sort of the dark, ominous figure of WWE, which they are similar in those respects. Not similar in all respects, but certainly their gimmick, if you want to call it that, seems to be very similar. But at the same time, I find the idea of a redemption story for Undertaker to be just as plausible, because last year the streak was broken, and and WWE probably doesn't want the Undertaker to go out on a loss, like if this is going to be his last WrestleMania. But I guess if the Undertaker has another WrestleMania in him, then Bray might win, and then next year maybe they'll do the Dream match, which has been rumored, where it'll be Undertaker versus Sting, and maybe the Undertaker could win that one, if that's gonna happen. It might not. So even though I'm not sure, I guess I'll go with the prediction that Bray will win, since that's what I think should happen anyway. I think that would be great for his character, and it would be a way to really elevate him and boost him up. Hopefully, that would help him with like long term with the booking. And who knows? Maybe he could be world champion someday. That would be awesome. And next is the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Lots of people in this one. So it's going to be Bad News Boring defending the title against R-Truth, Dean motherfucking Ambrose, Luke Harper, Dolph Ziggler, Stardust, and Daniel Bryan. And this match is another case of it's pretty much anyone's game. It's a toss-up. But in case it's not obvious from my little nickname for him, I want Dean Ambrose to win. I would like that very much. But I would only like it in the long run if they change the way that the title is booked. If they change it so that being champion actually means something. And I got a brilliant idea from TNA last week, because they were talking about something, I believe they called it Option C, concerning their, I guess you'd call it the mid-card title, the X Division title. And basically what it was that the X Division title holder could turn in the championship for a shot at the World Championship, at the World Heavyweight Championship. And I don't know if they might have gotten that idea from somewhere else, like maybe like old school, like WWF maybe. I don't really remember if they had something like that. So TNA might have gotten it from somebody else, but I think it would be an awesome idea. I don't think it works quite like the Money in the Bank briefcase, where you can just cash it in at any moment, like when the champion is vulnerable. But I think it would work more like you go to the Authority and you turn in the title and you say, I want a World Heavyweight title match. And then they give you a World Heavyweight title match at like the next pay-per-view. I think that would be awesome. And if they did that with the Intercontinental Championship, I think that would make the title as prestigious as they're trying to claim that it is. Because, every time they talk about the prestigious Intercontinental Championship, but the way they've booked it over the past couple of years, it hasn't really seemed all that prestigious. So if they did something cool like that, or if they just booked the title picture in a way that makes sense, I would love to see Dean Ambrose as the champion. And as far as who I think is going to win, well, I think quite possibly Daniel Bryan fans are going to get a consolation prize for their outrage at the fact that not only didn't he win the Royal Rumble, but he was barely in it for like 5 minutes. And a lot of Daniel Bryan fans are pissed off about that. I was pissed off about that. So we might be getting a consolation prize with him being the Intercontinental Champion. But again, is it really a prize if it's not booked well? I don't think so. So I'm thinking either that or perhaps my worst fears will come true and R-Truth will overcome his fear of heights. And they've certainly had him around the title picture every week, and I hope not. I find his character to be really annoying. So that's that for that match. The next match is Sting versus Triple H. And being someone who has been a wrestling fan for a really long time, I'm interested to see Sting get in the ring again, in the WWE ring this time. But honestly, I should probably care about this match more than I do. Like, I do care about it somewhat, but just technically, I probably should care about it more. But regardless of my level of caring, I hope that Sting wins because it is his WWE debut, and a lot of people think that he's got to be in WWE to be legit. I don't think that, but some people do. And I was a fan of his from back in the day. I always liked the Crow gimmick. I thought it was cool, and I liked when he used to come down from the rafters. That was awesome. And I've been a Sting fan for quite a while, so I hope he wins. And for the most part, I think that that's what they're going to do. But there is always a possibility that maybe they want to have Sting get screwed over, and and then they can draw out the feud and have them fight at another pay-per-view where Sting can get his redemption. Or it could be that maybe they were planning on having Sting win, but then maybe Triple H could change his mind at the last minute and decide that he needs to go over. Honestly, Triple H strikes me as the kind of guy who would pull that shit. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he actually did that to Brock Lesnar not too long ago. And speaking of Lesnar, that leaves only the main event, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match with the champion Brock Lesnar defending against Roman Reigns. And I got to tell you about this one. This one was almost certain. Like, it was practically a fact who was going to win this one until this past week, when it came out that Brock Lesnar had re-signed with the company. And that piece of news, in my perspective, changed everything. It was practically a given before that happened. It was practically a given that Captain Clothesline himself, Mr. Monotone, Roman Reigns, was going to go over and going to take the title. And a lot of people weren't going to be happy about that because he doesn't seem like he's ready to be a main event guy. He needs to work on his promos, first of all, and he could also use a better moveset. So it was all but certain that he was going to win, because it was pretty much presumed that Lesnar was going to leave WWE after WrestleMania, and he was going to go back into like UFC, and he was just going to leave the company. So they had to put the belt on somebody besides Lesnar. But now that he's staying, now that he's re-signed, it's starting to look a little different. I mean, it definitely looked for the past year or so that they were building up Roman Reigns to be a top guy. And they probably still are, even if they change their minds. But it looked, even from his debut in the Shield, that they were trying to build him up fast and make him look strong. But as for tomorrow night, as for at WrestleMania, I'm not so sure about that anymore. Because this recent development that Lesnar is staying with the WWE, they might change their minds at pretty much at the last minute. So, and again, I'm not really sure. I almost was sure until that news came out. If that news had not come out, I would have said I know for a fact that Roman Reigns is going over. But that's not the case anymore. So, since they probably don't even know what they're doing until tomorrow, when the whims of one Vincent Kennedy McMahon are decided, I would say take my prediction here with a massive grain of salt, because I certainly don't know what they're doing. I'm not even sure that they know what they're going to do if they've decided to change plans. But I think, I hope, I pray to the empty sky above that Lesnar destroys Roman Reigns. I want him to give me flashbacks to the deeply satisfying match that he had with John Cena at SummerSlam. The destroying part is not necessary, though. I don't hate Roman Reigns. I don't hate him to the degree that I want to see him completely destroyed. And that's like the only way I'll be satisfied. But it would help. That would potentially set up a storyline where Roman Reigns is like, wow, I got my ass handed to me by Lesnar. I really need to, get better. I really need to train better, and I really need to climb back up the ladder of WWE. And then they could start building him up and taking more time with it and making it work. By not rushing it. And that would be fine. But the destroying part is not necessary. I would be happy enough with him, with Brock Lesnar just winning and retaining the title, because I just think that if Lesnar's staying, keep the belt on him, and down the line you can figure out something else to do with it. Maybe have Rollins cash in at some point. He's been holding that briefcase for a long time, and it's seemed meaningless because it's like, well, they're not going to have him cash in. But, maybe have Rollins cash in at some point, and maybe have Lesnar feud with Rollins and get Reigns out of the way for a while, and then build him back up. So I'd be happy with just him winning. But like I said, I think I would especially enjoy Brock Lesnar just having just a dominant display of power, because he's the beast. He's the beast incarnate, and it's awesome to see him just destroy people. That's why it's been so disappointing when he showed up on Raw and completely just done nothing, just stood there while Paul Heyman talks. So I guess I should run down my predictions one more time. Just to sum it up, the WWE Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way, I want Tyson Kidd and Cesaro to win, but I think maybe the Usos will win. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is a toss-up. I want Damian Sandow to win, but I think Sheamus is probably going to return and win. Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. I want Seth Rollins to win, but there's a chance maybe Orton will win. It's another one I'm not too sure about. United States Championship match, Rusev versus John Cena. I want Rusev to win, but I am almost 100% certain that Cena is going to win. The AJ Lee and Paige versus Bella Twins match. I think maybe the Bellas are going to win, but I hope that AJ and Paige win, even though I don't really care about that match. Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. I think that Bray Wyatt is going to win, and that's what I want to happen. The Intercontinental Championship ladder match, I want Dean motherfucking Ambrose to win, but I think Daniel Bryan is going to win. And to a lesser extent, maybe R-Truth, which I really would not care for. Sting versus Triple H, I want Sting to win, and I'm pretty sure that he's going to, but there's a chance that Triple H might win. And the World Heavyweight Championship match, I want Brock Lesnar to win. And as far as what I think, I'm thinking that too. Maybe thinking positive thoughts will actually make it happen. So that is my WrestleMania Play Button predictions for tomorrow night. Hopefully you enjoyed this show. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Comment if you didn't like it. Tell me I'm a moron, whatever. Thoughts and opinions, always like to hear them. And hopefully WrestleMania tomorrow night is a good show. It's one of the less exciting WrestleManias in the past several years. I'm not quite as excited for it as I was about WrestleMania 30 last year. But hopefully next year's WrestleMania is stronger, and maybe tomorrow night's show will surprise me. So that's it for me. I'm down for the count. 1, 2, 3, and I'm out.